And when it comes to the tech and infra, I think you're right. There's been a lot of developments and improvements made in the past few years, but there's still a lot to go, right? And one thing we have uncovered recently is you want to give game developers flexibility and optionality. Some have visions of a few titles on chain, others have visions of an entire world, right? An entire gaming world of an MMO RPG, and they need a lot of throughput and a lot of scalability to realize that. And so at B3, what we're trying to do is give them that flexibility. So we're actually not just building one chain or one L3, we're actually building an ecosystem of L3s.
None of the information in this podcast constitutes investment advice or an offer, recommendation, or solicitation by WAGMI Ventures or any of its affiliates to buy or sell any securities. Hey friends, it's Benga here again with another WAGMI Ventures podcast episode. I want to start exploring other growing narratives this cycle and excited to have on the show with me today, Daryl Zhu, who's the CEO and co-founder of NPC Labs. He's here to help us understand and unpack everything gaming and crypto. NPC Labs is a core contributor to B3.Fun, a groundbreaking, horizontally scaled gaming ecosystem built on Base. For anyone who is new, this is the WAGMI Ventures podcast, where we do snapshots with interesting builders and founders across crypto and AI. Check out wagmiventures.io to learn more about the syndicate behind the podcast. Now let's jump right into it with Daryl. Hey man, welcome and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been a big fan from afar, loved your episodes with Jason and the others, so super grateful to be on here and thank you for the invite.
Yeah, thank you for being a fan, a supporter. Certainly happy to have you here to sort of unpack everything gaming and crypto.
I also really love the name too, by the way, WAGMI. So I feel like the people in crypto Twitter right now, they need an injection of that energy, so I love it.
Yeah, I'm taking zero credit there. That's all our team and, really just building on the ethos of what we think crypto should be and really demonstrating that here as well. All right. I'm going to just jump right into it. Like generally we talk to founders and we ask them about their crypto journey. I think you guys is a little bit deeper here, right? You guys just raised 21 million and Pantera mentioned in its write-up on how it and why it invested, it talks about your team being advanced, believing in your team to be qualified and advance critical infrastructure on Base. So they're referring to yourself, of course, Victoria and Sean, as former Coinbase employees and how you've, pivoted all that into what you're doing today. So as part of your journey, talk to us about like your time at Coinbase, how that's influenced your crypto worldview and getting you guys to build NPC.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel very fortunate to have worked at Coinbase and grateful for the team around us, which are ex-Coinbase and ex-Base people. I think what was really magical about my time at Coinbase was Coinbase does this fantastic job of putting together like-minded, extremely talented people and encouraging them to pursue this single mission, right? Economic freedom and bring folks on chain. But I think the most fascinating part was also the culture, very collaborative championship team, but also a little bit rebellious at the same time because we work in crypto and we were trying to update the system. So I think it was awesome working with talented people and it was really fun. And drawing it back to NPC Labs, right? I think we learned a lot that we're applying here. First and foremost, on the user side, Coinbase did a fantastic job of best-in-class UX and supporting great builders. And a lot of that is really core to what we do at FPC, which is really making sure that users have the best onboarding experience. And then also with gaming builders, making sure they have a great experience building on B3 Onchain as well. So a lot of what we learned at Coinbase, we are taking it and applying it at NPC.
Awesome. I like what you said there and how you're applying it into the, this gaming platform or infrastructure that you're building. Gaming's been around for some time now. Like, help our audience understand, like, why NPC Labs, just given that there are so many other gaming chains out there, like, what is your unique offering and value prop?
Yeah, Absolutely. Let me start first with NPC, who we are. We're relatively new, the new kid on the block, if you will. So, NPC at a really high level, we are a core contributor to a new gaming ecosystem, B3, that is a layer 3 settling onto base. We are built just for on-chain gaming, and our mission is very simple. We want to bring fun on chain, and we want to restore economic freedom to players, gamers, and developers. And the reason why we're going after this at this particular moment in time is actually a few. So I think first, we see this massive opportunity to build more fun and more accessible games. We saw a signal that audiences are hungry for this type of casual gaming content, and we really want to help bring those to market, first and foremost. The second, gaming, like you said, has been around for a while, but I think what's finally caught up is the infra side. So the infra side, the protocol, the wallet frameworks, these are finally ready, I think, for game time. And what I mean by game time is like the millions of users to all be transacting on chain concurrently. So I think the infra is finally ready, and we just need to put the content out there, the applications. The last point is the market. And I think the market is one of the biggest, right, in gaming. We have 3 billion gamers, ton of revenue. And yes, we've come a long way. There's been tons of gaming chains that have done a fantastic job of bringing users and gamers on chain. But I think we're still very far away from that grand vision of on-chain gaming. And we really want to do our part in bringing them on chain. So I think that's NPC in a nutshell. In the way that we are different from other gaming chains, I think first and foremost, like lots of respect and admiration for them. But our approach has been quite unorthodox and different. And it's really just based on what we know and who we are as builders. We like to say internally, you can't really do the same thing and expect different results. So we're taking a different approach. I think it starts with just the timeline that we've been operating on. So our company, NPC Labs, is less than 6 months old. We left base 6 months ago. And since then, we launched Testnet, which was one of the largest testnets of all time. We launched Mainnet, which has only been a month, but it's growing quite rapidly. And we also launched this application, this discovery surface called basement.fun. And so a lot of things has been shipped. And I think we had a saying back at Coinbase where you want to build in the open, right? And not everything is going to be perfect. But what we strongly believe in is you want to build and grow with the community rather than more of a top-down approach, right? And so not everything's going to be perfect, but as long as we're building with the community, getting their feedback, I think that's really how we iterate and grow this thing. So I think that's one on the company history side. I think the brand too, we're taking a very different approach. If you look at some of our content and some of the marketing messages, it's fun, it's accessible, and lots of memes and very, culturally relevant is what we try to hit on. And that's the brainchild of our COO, Victoria, and their marketing team. We just want to make it like dead simple and relatable to a non-crypto audience, to the mom in Nebraska, if you will, like for them to kind of get it. So the brand is something else we're differentiating on. The last one, I think, is more around like the product. And one of the biggest problems we saw early on was there wasn't a simple hub or a simple page you could go to find all of the on-chain games, right? And we built that. We built basement.fun, and you go there, it's really easy for you to start playing games. We even have a guest checkout or a guest account flow where you can go in and you can start playing the game immediately, and a wallet is created for you on the back end, and you don't have to claim the wallet until you've hit a certain milestone in the game, right? So that way it's a lot more accessible, and the barrier to entry for like a new user that's not that familiar with crypto is much lower. So on the product side, building this discovery portal and also really innovating on the onboarding experience. So it's dead simple for a new person to come in.
Hey everybody, quick thing here. We're excited to announce WAGMI Advisory, your home for all things fundraising, hiring, and partnerships. This is all about supercharging your project with the WAGMI network, consisting of over 20,000 executives, investors, and builders in crypto, all ready to come alongside your project to help it succeed. Get in touch at team@WAGMIVentures. WAGMI.io to learn more and figure out if WAGMI Advisory is the right fit for your project. Let's get back to the show. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. You talk about the product side, the onboarding side, and the brand side, just making it more relatable. I think that's one of the things I really find is a sort of like a common denominator with a lot of Coinbase alumni who are founders, like that DNA for really addressing fundamental infrastructural issues in crypto and beyond, and really thinking through what type of solutioning can help fix a lot of that. And in gaming, quite frankly, the infrastructure sucks. And so your value prop in this three-pronged approach makes a ton of sense. Your audience obviously is the players, the gamers, developers. And as you think about like that group of folks, I'm probably going to split them in two ways now. You've got like developers on one side and then the consumers. How has the developer community received a lot of this? I know it's been a short, 6 months, but like how have they received it? And, on the consumer side, I think you've done some innovation on some of the work around, I think you call it XP program. If you could also like talk about like what that is and how that's bettering the consumer experience.
Really quickly on the user side first, I think what we've seen is the user and the gamer is hungry for new, different, and more accessible type experiences. And some of the games that we've launched, we've seen incredible, exciting organic growth. One of the ones, for example, is this game called Coconut Tree. And when we launched, we had 100 players play that first week, but it quickly scaled to 1,000 in week 2. And I think right now we have actually 90K people playing Coconut Tree concurrently. So it's been really awesome. And again, I think it's an indication that the user is hungry for these more accessible gameplay experiences. That's on the user side. And I think the reception has been equally good on the developer side. And the way we think about it is giving game developers a lot of optionality and flexibility when it comes to deploying on-chain. You have a spectrum of studios and different types of game developers. Some are larger and they have these grand visions of building a humongous on-chain gaming world, right? In the style of maybe like an MMO or an RPG, or maybe even building their own Roblox. And this requires a lot of throughput and a lot of scalability. And we have the know-how to power that chain. And so we'll work in-house and work with partners to stitch together that tech stack that can enable that experience. On the other end of the spectrum, you also have these smaller studios on the indie side that just want to deploy single titles. And so these folks are comfortable with deploying on our main L3. And the idea here is we can immediately help them get on chain. And so we can help them really scale quickly and connect with the B3 audience. So I think on the infra side, the reception has been great. Our model has been, we want to meet game developers where they are. And so really give them the menu of options and help support them in their vision and realizing that vision.
Yeah, I think you're being modest on the reception there. I think 6 months since launch, 1 month since funding, your testnet, which you mentioned earlier, was massive with 367,000 wallets being created, which ultimately generated something like almost 50 million transactions. So yeah, the reception has been phenomenal, right? And your mainnet is live now. All these numbers pretty powerful. I think you mentioned 90,000 players on Coconut. How are you able to achieve this level of engagement and participation from the gaming community?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first off, just really grateful to the B3 community for the engagement and the investment and just interest in trying things out. I think it comes down to a few things, but the one that is most prominent is we just ship new experiences consistently, new games, new features, and we just try to think about things differently. And I think that, again, resonates with, folks and users and even developers too. And so that has been, I don't think there's any, secret or magic formula, but if I were to touch on one thing, that's been the common trend. And we're going to continue doing that. So the idea is one new game per week. It's going to be, more coconut trees for folks to play with. It's going to be an expansion of the XP program. And we're also, just a little bit of a preview, we're also releasing BP as well. So builder points, which are these, incentives that you can earn from playing partner games. So games that deploy on B3, you can earn BP from completing levels, from completing in-game items or other achievements. So yeah, we just want to continue to ship and try new things and, continue making the gameplay experience better.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I definitely have been following, so aligned with, a lot of the numbers that I'm seeing. Yeah, there is no magic sauce, but it does seem like, the power of your solution is really what is drawing folks in the community to engage with the solutions you're bringing to market. I have heard B3 Fund being described as sort of like a microservices like layer 3 ecosystem that enables nearly gasless transactions and high transaction throughput. Can you help me unpack that?
Yeah, absolutely. So it goes back a bit to what I said earlier around meeting game developers where they are. So, we're not just building one chain or one L3, we're actually building an ecosystem of chains. So there's really two parts to this. The first part is this main L3 hub that we're running, right? If you actually just throw in all the game state and data on that one L3 chain, a single chain, you're actually going to run into scaling issues quite quickly, and it's going to be very congested. So we thought long and hard with a partner of ours, ChainSafe, on how we can horizontally scale this ecosystem. And so the idea that we arrived at is, to your point, very similar to Web2 microservices architecture, where we are going to have rollups for a specific purpose. And so you can think of a rollup for a VRF type service or a marketplace type service or a wagering service. And so it's just like Web2, where you have these specific microservices that you're hitting, but only for that specific function. And what we're doing is just actually putting that all on chain as rollups. And so that way, the main L3 hub never really gets fully congested. And so that's how we're building this ecosystem of chains. We have a main L3 hub, we have these single purpose chains. And then, like I said earlier, you also have these very large gaming studios that want to build their own chain, their own ecosystem. And we have the know-how and stack to help them do that. So really think of B3 as like an ecosystem of chains and not just one individual L3.
I know there's a lot of exciting features that you're about to launch. I chatted with Victoria earlier and she shared a bit of a teaser. Can you share some more teasers with our listeners, especially the more exciting stuff that, the community is looking forward to? And then perhaps from there, share broad strokes, your vision and roadmap for NPC from here on out. Just want to tack onto that. Don't want to make it too long a question, but it'd be nice to hear if you have any plans to work on other chains outside of ETH-Base.
Absolutely. So on the feature question first, absolutely. So we're going to maintain this breakneck speed that we have, and we're going to be shipping new features constantly. So really an expansion of the XP program and the BP program as well. And so XP is not just about points, right? V2, we're going to give you more rewards. We're going to give you more ability to record some of these achievements on chain. And there's going to be more perks with XP. So you can get early access to games. You may get rewards from V3 gaming partners. So there's a lot on the XP roadmap that's to come. And then talking really quickly again about BP, which is something we're super excited about. You can go to these B3 partner games like Gamecoin and Goat and Yomi Games and a ton of these folks, and you can earn BP exclusively by playing those games. And so really, we think about a lot of rewards for these users, and we want to make it really, really meaningful to play on B3. So that's on the XP side. I think when it comes to like our vision and roadmap for NPC here on out, we're laser focused on supporting game builders and bringing them on chain. And so really what that means is supporting more games, more gaming launches. Right now, I think we have 25, 30 games. We want to scale that to hundreds of games, right? And, our North Star really is to bring 1 billion gamers on chain. There's 3 billion in the world. I'm very bullish on our ability to bring, a portion of that pie on chain. And we're not going to stop until, we onboard that, mom from Nebraska And so instead of her playing Candy Crush, she plays a game on B3. And we're not going to stop until then. So super excited about that. And then I think on your last question around working with other chains, we believe strongly in collaboration over competition. And with Basement.Fun, I think the beauty of it is it's meant to be the front page of Onchain Gaming. And Onchain Gaming is not just B3, right? There's amazing work being done by Immutable and Zai and Ronin and all these other folks out there. And I think there's a great opportunity for us to eventually index those games, display them, list them on Basement.Fun, and hopefully have a way for our communities to talk to each other and engage with it. And that way we can help them with, user acquisition as well. So we're very open to working and supporting other gaming chains. I think the rising tide lifts all boats. So if any one of their games hits, I think we would all benefit. So super excited to find ways to support them.
Yeah, I'm just going to shamelessly share there. Like, that's the whole WAGMI ethos right there. Collaboration. We're all going to make it. And yeah, love the approach. I think, if anything, it only grows or extends your solutioning beyond the base ecosystem. All right. The other thing I think I'd like to just pick your brains on before we end here is, what else in crypto do you find exciting and fascinating outside gaming?
Yeah, super fascinated by all the consumer experiments happening, actually. So I know Coinbase and Base have done a really good job of piloting USDC payments at coffee shops, right, and local businesses. And I think there's a lot of benefit there, right, where you're helping the business save credit card processing fees. So super excited by that. And I myself, having lived in New York or living in New York, tried some of them, which is awesome. There's also a lot of awesome work being done by the Forecaster team, continuing to build out their decentralized social network. But yeah, I think in general, like, the consumer stuff is the most interesting to me because I can see and feel it. And so these days, with the time that I have, like, I'm using as many of them as I can and, rooting for all of them. So yeah, super excited for the land of crypto consumer.
Awesome. Yeah, no, this is really great. I've really enjoyed talking to you and hearing your insights on gaming, the gaming narrative, Daryl. We'll continue to stay close. Obviously, you guys are just 6 months in. Would love to have you back as you do another 6 months of these phenomenal growth and scale and kind of talk about the journey at that point. Thank you so much for being on the show and look forward to having you back soon.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, go ahead and give us a good 5-star rating and subscribe wherever you're getting your podcasts so you can get all the latest conversations from the most interesting founders, builders, and investors from across the world. Thanks so much and have a good one.